Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
We'll start with validation rules. Before we jump onto the practical implementation, let's understand what validation rule is all about. Mainly say, I am creating a data or my users who are using the live project. They are using application that I have built for them. I want them to follow certain rules that say, if I am creating a patient for a new patient, the status cannot be inactive. If they are trying to create a patient with the status as inactive, they will be shown with an error and they won't be able to create the patient record. Certain business rules I want my users to be followed. Otherwise, they will not be able to do that action. Like, let me give you an example. On appointment, we have a field called date time. That field should not contain the date and time from past. Is there a possibility that someone is getting an appointment for past? Let's say you have to meet the doctor. I got it. Is that possible? No, I mean it has to be a future date for appointments. We are imposing certain business rules that a user has to follow. If he is not following that, the operation will be restricted and he won't be able to do that action. Validation rule is like validating the data that user is providing. And if that data is not as per the expectation, they will be restricted to do that action. That's the simple and the only requirement or only use case of validation rule. One question, Sumit. Is this validation rule only for the fields? It's only for fields like we are checking the data fields and based on that, we will throw an error. Let's say, let me open our project. I have list down 4 scenarios. Like users should not be able to enter patient record without membership ID. That means if I'm trying to create a patient without membership ID, I should be thrown with an error and I should not be able to create patient record. That's the expectation. Membership ID is a mandatory field. We make it mandatory via page layout, via field, but the requirement here, I have to make it mandatory via validation rule. How to impose or like make the users follow this? We have to go with validation rule. Currently, let me open the patient and let's see if it is happening currently. First, let's verify the current state and then we'll create a validation rule to make that happen. We have not made any field mandatory using page layout far. I mean in India for examples. Let me open patient detail. Let's see how to make this field required on page layout. Currently it is not required and we need to make it required. Click here on Setup, Edit Object. Go to page layout. Where is page layout? Where we have opened any of these layout and we have to apply the same on both the layouts, marketing and non-marketing. Now let's make it required on the page layout. Scroll down here. We have membership ID. Click on these properties here. This range, click on it, make it required. Got it. Click and save. We can do that using the fields and relationships. It has to be done through page layout. We can do it via field and relationship. We can do it via page layout and then we can do it via. Let's see how to make it via field and relationship. Click on membership ID. Click Edit. On the field level itself, there is a section called Required. But the thing is, when we do it with page layout and fields, we can only make it mandatory. We cannot really give rules for the data. It has to be a certain format. It can only have alphabets and all that. Exactly. I mean the preferred ways to do it via code or validation rule. When we make it mandatory via field or page layout, like user is not aware. Like why, I mean in which order or which type of data we are expecting. Let's make it non-mandatory from page layout for now and we'll do it via validation rule. My requirement is if I try to make a record of patient without membership ID and as soon as I click on save, there should be an error here that you cannot create a patient record without providing membership ID. And just go through the requirement. It says user should not be able to enter or create record without membership ID. That means this behavior I want only at the time of creation, not at the time of updation. Say I am updating an existing record. Let me open this and let's say I remove the membership ID and I click on save. That is totally fine. If I make edit in the existing, the only requirement here is I want this behavior on that at the time of creation of record. Getting my point? But I mean, while editing, what if somebody removes the membership ID? That is, I mean in actual, whether it's possible or not. That's a separate thing. But the requirement here is like how we capture a single event, like how to get that. I'll try to walk you through. My requirement is, there are two parts of my requirement. One is, I want this at the time of new record only. And again, my sub-requirement is I have to check whether the membership ID is blank or not. Membership ID is blank. If these two conditions met, like record is new and membership ID is blank, user should be thrown with the error. Let's go to validation rule. Let's implement this. From the setup, we have validation rules. Click on new. Wait. Where did we go? From here, click on edit object. Let me open it again. From the edit object, scroll down. Here we have validation rule. The same page. Click new. Just give some meaningful name like Check membership ID. Patient detail. What is the error condition? Just now we have gone through two. One is the record has to be new. Record has to be the new. How to check in the validation rule whether the record in context is new or not. If you go here in the hand side, we have a function panel. There is a special function for that is new. If this function is like giving true value, that means the record that we are working on is new record. If this function is false, it will give us the idea, the validation rule, the idea that the record is old record. Click on Insert Selected Function. Comma. Second requirement is whether the membership ID is blank or not. We have again a special function for is blank. Click on that. And here in the expression inside the bracket, we have to provide the API name of field that we need to check. I need to check the which field membership ID. Click here, Insert Field. Patient detail with arrow membership ID insert. Both conditions I have listed down in the validation rule. Now my requirement is if these two conditions met at the same time. In, like mathematics we studied about and or. I want these two conditions to be met at the same time. I will go with an. In Salesforce we have a provision for and or everything. I have written down the error condition that if this and this met at the same time, that's the error condition and user could be thrown with the error that I write here. You cannot create new patient record. Membership ID. Just go through this how we have formulated that and just let me know in case of any issues. This will throw for conditions if the record is new. And if it is blank, to give them which field is blank, we go to Insert Field and can you click the Insert Field again? We click Patient Detail and choose the field. Choose the field and insert. If this and this are true, then it will throw an error message exactly. Now we have a privilege here to provide the error message that will be thrown to you. Finally, click on Save and let's verify the result. That's it like. That was our first scenario for validation rule. It's really easy. I would say no issues like I have. I'm not sure why people struggle in validation rule, but it's easy if we are aware about the functions. In this we have used two functions. One is new. You have to just understand and remember the relevance of all the functions. Like I share a complete list like which all functions we need to remember. Just remember those functions that we use very often. Now just verify the output. Let me try to create a new patient detail report. And let's see if our validation rule is working as expected. I am leaving membership ID as blank. Click on Save. You cannot create new patient record without membership ID. That means our validation rule is working. That was our first scenario. Our second requirement is, let me make it green. My second requirement is, while creating a record, status of a patient cannot be inactive. It's logical. I am creating a code and I am giving inactive status. It will not be possible anytime. Let's see how to make it happen. Currently, I can make it inactive while creating new record. But let's implement this. Go to validation rule. Validation rule no. This time let's again go to requirement. Status for a patient cannot be inactive while creating new record. Can you help me understand or identify the two sub-requirements? One is if the new one is new. And second in the status if value is inactive. That is how, anytime when you start implementation, you have to identify the sub-requirements and then you can easily translate that using functions. Now half of the work is done. You just have to translate that using functions. Let's give some meaningful name. Check status. First would be is new. Is new. Second would be, I need to check the value of a drop-down. Status is a drop-down. In Salesforce, we check the value of drop-down using is pick well. Because it's a pick list. It's a pick list. Click on Insert Selected Functions. This function has two attributes. First, I need to provide like for which drop-down I need to check value. I need to provide the API name of status. Click on Insert field, Patient Detail Status Insert. First parameter will be like, say, I need to check the value of source of status or members ID which field I am checking. And second, which string I am comparing. In our case, I need to compare it with inactive. If it's inactive, it will throw an error. Let's type inactive and both should be in and that will. The main aim of this requirement was to introduce is pick well. Just type our error condition. Status cannot be inactive or new record. Now let's try to create a new record with status as inactive. Let's pass membership ID. I'm making status as inactive. Status cannot be inactive for new record. That means again, validation rule is working as expected. Any issues till now? One more requirement I'll cover and then I'll give one to you for practice. My next requirement is on an appointment. Let's create one more field. If I go through our project, we have a field called date and time. One more appointment, but I have not created that yet. Let's create a date and time field appointment. Let me create a new field. That's the backbone of patient. Appointment like at which time you are seeking appointment. Let's create a new field that will be a date time. Field type will be date time. Search for date time. Here we have date time. Appointment date time. Let me make it very quickly and see. I have created a date time field. Let's do one thing. Let's try to create a new record with value from the past. As we have created it recently, it would take a couple of seconds to be visible on the layout. Now it is there. I am creating this for, say, Sumit. Sumit is the patient. Let's try to give, say, 1st of December. Let's say by mistake, the agent that was there on the help desk has given the wrong date and time. Let's try to click on save and it will save. That is not correct. By mistake, I have created an appointment for 1st of December for a patient. Let's now see how we tackle it. But again, just go through the requirement and let's identify. Appointment time cannot be in the past. Here, there is no mention that it should be only on the new record or existing. That means it has to be on all records. This time there is no ASN. The only condition that appointment time cannot be in the past. Let's see how we check that. Again, go to Edit Object. Very important scenario like this type of requirement I have seen in many projects. Very easy to implement but very, I would say, important. Scroll down, validation rule. Check date time. Now very important. How to get the value that is there in the, I would say, in this field. Like we have to insert the field. Insert appointment, detail appointment date time. How would validation rule get to know that the value that I'm providing is from the past? There has to be a comparison. If I compare the value from the field, current date time, I can get an idea that if the value from the field is less than O, that will give me an idea that it is past date time. I have got the value from the field in the validation rule. Now if it is less than current date time. Current date time means 9th of December 729. How to get that value in the validation rule? That's the important point now. How to get that value in validation rule? To get that value, we have a ready-made function that is now. Now returns a date time representing the current moment. Oh, inside this is the error condition. Very simple. Any issues in this? That means if the value that we are giving is less than current moment, that means it is from the past. Just add an error condition. You cannot pass. Date time from past and let's click on save. If we are aware of the correct function, validation rule is like really easy. The only struggle is to remember the important functions, and that's it. Let's say I am creating an appointment for this patient. Let's try to give it 1st of December. You cannot pass date time from past. That means our validation rule again is working as expected. Any issues in any of these three scenarios? Let me give you a walk through the fourth scenario. It's somewhat similar to the second one, but it's a cross object. What I want, system should not allow creation of a case for inactive patient. If a patient is inactive, let me go through that. If a patient is inactive and I am trying to create a case for that, patient system should throw me an error. Let me make a patient inactive currently, and that's the logical part. Like if the patient is inactive, he has got some dues to be paid to hospital, or he has done some wrong thing or some, and that's why like he's inactive, or there can be a number of reasons. The case could not be created for that patient. Let me make this patient inactive. And say now someone is trying to create a case for this patient. Let's go to case new. Case. Origin is like phone, or it can be anything. And here I am selecting this patient. If I try to do this and click on save, I should get an error that you cannot create a case for an inactive patient. That's my requirement. Please practice that from your side. And it's like similar to second requirement, but many times people come back that how to deal with the validation rule in the cross object. Like we are working on case, but I want some value from patient. Two objects are involved. Just try to brainstorm on that, like how to implement that, and we'll see that. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.